Oleksandr, hello. I'm very glad to see you here. Thank you for finding time to speak about what we are going to speak. It's not very easy conversation, I understand, but we are here. And I'd like to say hello to everyone who will be watching and listening to this conversation. I'm Larysa Homans, ICF Ukraine coach, co-leader of partnership initiatives between ICF Ukraine Charter Chapter and other ICF chapters. And I'm very glad, actually I'm honored to introduce Oleksandr Zeleniuk, executive and leadership coach, ACC, and the president of ICF Ukraine Charter Chapter since October 2020. Oleksandr, what you would like to say at the beginning of our conversation about you, about the situation in your life?
Again, hello, Larysa. Hello, everyone who are listening or watching us at this moment. Today, there is a 63rd days of aggression of Russian Federation to Ukraine. And of course, these circumstances defy our conversation today. And I would like to have this conversation in a different way, but unfortunately, we have this current situation as it is. I have been practicing coaching since 2019, and now been able to identify myself as a professional coach. This profession became truly my passion, as it's able to combine the previous experience, my talents, and other aspects of my life. And I think that these days I meet the situation as a professional coach, and this is my current identity. But this identity encompasses different ones as well. My previous experience, my military background, my diplomatic service, and civic service as well. Now, together with ICF Ukraine board members as leaders, I have put my efforts to keep the charter working in current conditions. And of course, I would say that at this moment in time, we don't have a clear map of what we are doing today. We happen to be on the unknown territory, and I think I'll be able to discuss it later on during our conversation.
Yeah, and we decided to make this conversation in English with a very specific purpose and very clear and important purpose. We want to help international coaching communities. Now we are communicating with many coaches from different countries actively, and we want to help our international coaching communities, our colleagues from different countries, from other ICF chapters, listening the voice of Ukrainian coaches, and also to say, what do we stand for? What do we do now, even knowing that the emerging activities are showing up and there is no clear and well-defined map of our activities? And also, how do we see the roles and responsibilities of professional coaching community, and how international coaching communities, international coaches can stand with Ukraine and can stand with Ukrainian coaches. Yeah, and by answering the questions I have for you, we will use this way to bring our message we want to share. And what your message, the most important, or maybe the first one, to our international coaching colleagues is up to now?
It's not an easy question and not an easy answer to this, but this answer is coming from my heart directly, that I recognize that my human identity is wider than professional one. And especially that's true when I started communicating with different ICF authorities, different ICF coaches, that trying to squeeze and to to squeeze ourselves to just a professional identity doesn't work in this situation. This situation is unprecedented because it's broken all the rules, all the norms, and many of the lives of our people. And that's why I'm telling that only something deeper in human is working now. And of course, professional is only part of humanity. And that's why I'm telling that humanity comes first. In this situation, we have to just view through those lenses, not only through the professional.
You mentioned at the beginning that today is the 63rd day of the aggressive, bloody, unprovoked, brutal war of Russia against independent Ukraine, our homeland country. And sometimes I'm feeling that it's very difficult to explain to our colleagues that we are living at the same time and we are living at a different time. So we are counting days, and time is unfolding for us differently, even if I'm not in Ukraine, but I'm feeling this connection so deep, and what is happening there, it's going through my heart. But you mentioned about values. And in coaching, we are always talking about values. What your values, what kind of values now are giving you the strength to work, to lead, to coach, and also to communicate with different people, with different coaching authorities and with coaching colleagues?
As I mentioned just a moment ago, that we stand for human values that make our lives meaningful, optimistic, and predictable. Those values help us raise our children, take care of our loving ones, maintain friendships and good relations, develop ourselves in communities. We, as Ukrainians and Ukrainian coaches, we stand for freedom to choose, for dignity, for the right to express ourselves both humanly and professionally. Now our country defends the right to be a European nation. And all those, it's deeply human and very, very truly to our hearts. Sometimes it's difficult to pronounce these maybe pathetic words, but nevertheless, they are very true. And I think that we, at this moment, we encompass different identities. We are eager to protect our country. We're eager to protect our families, and we're also trying to maintain our professional identities as well. That's why I think we maintain our living community. Not we only just thought about something, things that not related to coaching, but sometimes, of course, we trying to find the time and to maintain our connections between ourselves, between our members of our chapter, and that is very important. So I'm trying to say that while we experienced a hard time, while the basic or fundamental needs are frustrated, we're still keeping and maintaining our coaching community. And I think it's very, very important for our future that we believe we after our victory.
Yeah, despite the wartime, coaching community is living and working, and ICF Ukraine chapter is working. And if you can look at the schedule, the calendar we have for April, yeah, so there are many very important events which are reflecting the time we are going through. And our coaching colleagues are volunteering, helping each other and helping people, communities who need to get support, maybe not only 100% of coaching support, the pure coaching support, but the blended support, psychological support. Can you tell more a little bit what chapter is doing right now?
Yes, of course. Also, I'd like to revert to the metaphor of the map and the territory. At this point, we, as a chapter, we are at the unknown territory because we live in the unprecedented times. And of course, many of our coaches live in very different conditions. Some coaches, few coaches are living under occupation. Some coaches living near the or in the territory where this fighting takes place. Many coaches protecting their families, especially female coaches, left country and trying to find the place to live in abroad. And that's it means that we don't have true connections with all the members, but still we have the core of our community, and as a word we communicate to each other. So we meet regularly with board members, and that's I think this like a hub for our chapter to coordinate, or better say, to keep communicating with different volunteers from our chapter. And of course, I think that at these times, many volunteers raise their voice, raised their hands in helping each other and initiating different activities. And this work takes place horizontally. We don't have a vertical from board to the members. We have this very dynamic coaching society, and different people trying to do what's possible in this time. So we don't have a decent plan for the moment, and our activities are rolling out. It means that some initiatives are supported, some initiatives is encompassing few people, some initiatives may just directed to just one coach. And that is very dynamic and very unstructured in good terms. But anyway, all those who need support, they found it. And of course, in these directions, we are offered support from different chapters, from some coaches, and sometimes of course it's very needed in this situation, and we value all offered support from our colleagues from different countries. It's very valuable, especially in this situation when there is no rules, no precedent in our times. So, of course, many volunteers communicate with different ICF chapters, and we found very valuable supports from there.
Yeah, I also will add a little bit more about what we are doing with other chapters, how we initiated this partnership, which happened not because we are planning, but because we really needed to have these professional connections for different reasons. But the question is, because you were talking to many coaches, I'm doing the same, our colleagues are doing the same. I mean, mainly from different countries, but what are your major observations? How professional coaches from different countries, from different continents, are reacting to the wartime and to the war? I'm not inviting you to discuss the war situation, but what are the reactions and the perceptions which are driving the actions?
I would say that there is a wide spectrum of reactions. Of course, mostly coaches provide genuine support and care and empathy and readiness to help. And that even a hint, a suggestion to help, it's very helpful at this moment. And that's why we need such a communication. Because sometimes it looks like that many coaches are unaware. And as soon as we are communicating the situation, sharing this our feeling from the first hand, I think that some hearts are starting melting. And that's make this our profession again confirming that there is no border between the countries, because on the deep level we are connecting as a humans, not as a professionals, and that's it of course raises some awareness, some deep trust and empathy that that creates the ground for further communication. And of course, the help comes from different place we didn't expect it at the beginning. And I think this situation will be even more scaling even more when situation will go further. Because actually, at this time, we are not in the end, unfortunately. We don't know how long will take this war to Ukraine. But I think that this wave of support and empathy will even raise. Unfortunately, I have to admit that there is some people who are just maybe unaware, I would say. But they view this situation as ordinary conflict, like something calling the politics or something, the conflict that doesn't deserve some attention even. But unfortunately, with time and with these pictures of horrors of this war, of atrocities that people can watch on the channel, on the social media, now the awareness is rising. And I think that it's not even professionally to stay aside, not to mention that to take part and to support not only coaching community and Ukrainian coaching community, but Ukraine as a whole country, because our values are very true and our values are deep in the DNA of our free and modern people in the world.
Yeah, I agree. There is a very wide spectrum of the reaction to what is happening in Ukraine. And in some way, maybe we are not thinking about it before. It's our responsibility to help to increase awareness without involving in political discussions, because war is not about the politics. War is about the life and death. War is about the freedom, to fight for the freedom, to fight for dignity. And sometimes it's not easy to explain what dignity does mean for us. But especially now I'm saying, not ask about courage, what does it mean? Not ask about dignity, what does it mean for us? Not ask about what freedom does mean for us. Just look at what Ukrainians are doing and how much they are committed to fight for their lives, for the lives of the loved ones, the people they don't know, for actually all Ukrainians, whole country, and for the world. Now, it's almost not possible even to start hesitating it's true or not. But sometimes, unfortunately, I was asked, is it really true? The scale of this tensions, I'm saying not, it's not the scale of the tensions, the scale of atrocity. And yes, it's true. It's hard to accept, but it's true. And it's necessary to know, even if it's more convenient, maybe do not know too much. But what is given not just hope, but the energy of which we need, everyone needs energy today even more. And this is when I can see that people are ready to stand with Ukraine, for Ukraine. And we know that this word stand with Ukraine became one of the globally known. And this word stand with Ukraine mean different things for different people. What does it mean for you?
Stand with Ukraine means for me just to bring their attention, to bring some human empathy. We are self-sufficient in terms of our dignity, our strength. We are ready, but of course, we need to recognize such an effort for the whole world as well. Because of course, this is not the war Ukraine wages against aggression. It's a war against the human values, unprecedented in the 21st century. We thought that the horrors of World War II will never happen here in Europe. But unfortunately, we've all made a mistake. We are not taking into account such a awful will of some people who decided just to state otherwise. And that's why we need such an attention, such an effort, not only for Ukrainians, but the peace, because in this interconnected world, the consequences of this war will be heard or felt many years in the future. And this is true. And just to be aware of such consequences, I think this is like urgent trigger to do something, to act, and to be proactive. And that's why I'm appealing to our fellow colleague coaches from different chapters that we expect at least some dialogues, communication, where we are able to be heard and to share our truth and to share that our peaceful profession will be needed, will be globally, and especially in this situation, in this after war as well. Hopefully that help us to do our volunteering job, that we find this support, find this genuine and wholehearted support from our colleagues from different countries. And I think that such a desire to be helpful, to make their efforts in the nation some sort of even moral donation will be very useful, and that's a part of such a time we live, when any news, any situation became known in a second, and that's made us to rethink this approach and rethink our communication in a different way. So
yeah, and this is why we are making this conversation in English, because with this conversation we will start to provide more and more information. I'm sure it will be valuable not only for us coaches in Ukraine, but coaches from other countries, just to make this connection stronger and to develop partnership in the strategic way, despite the wartime we are facing. And I'd like to use this opportunity to thank you from deep heart and on behalf of all ICF Ukraine chapter members, to those chapter leaders and chapter members, ICF chapter members, who answered not just quickly, but genuinely, as you mentioned. I remember the moment when I sent email to the ICF Metro DC chapter, addressing not just asking, please help. No, I'm saying this is where we are, what we are doing, and what kind of support we are going to get from professional communities. And where we are now, the pro bono coaching support from ICF Metro DC chapter is going to our coaches and also individual and small group. And we are about to start the pro bono coaching support for small groups with translation, which is actually important for us, we are speaking different languages, and our colleagues can help us in English language. So it's a little bit challenging, but it's absolutely possible. ICF Germany, and they offered the supervision cycle of events, coaching, professional events for our members, again, helping our members. This is creating the conditions for our members to be able to help other people, to work for different groups of people. So this is a continuity of support, which is important today. Together with ICF chapters in Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, we are discussing, again, different ways to cooperate, from pro bono coaching and other ways of support. ICF Italy is offering the possibility to take part in the conferences, international conference, which happened in June, for free, not only for ICF Ukraine chapters, but for other Ukrainian coaches. And also ICF Pittsburgh, it's another chapter from the United States, is inviting Ukrainian coaches to speak, to bring webinars and to deliver these webinars during the International Coaching Week. And it's very interesting how diverse the ways of support is, and how strong these connections are happening during very short period of time. And when I'm seeing this, I'm thinking this is coaching, volunteering, and leadership are coming together. Very often we are talking about that in peaceful time, but now it has very strong meaning, very valuable meaning. And I hope other chapters will join us, and we have the special like tagline or hashtag, coaches stand with Ukraine. It will be not just additional content. We are going to create the close groups of coaches who are willing to support Ukraine, coaches in Ukraine, and in this way to build the profession, I'm sure, at the different level. What do you think, Oleksandr? Our colleagues who will be watching this video, what kind of response you would like to get?
First of all, I would like to thank all the volunteers who participated in the support, both from ICF Ukraine and coaches from different chapters, from chapters you mentioned already. And I'd like to acknowledge such a willingness to provide such effort and support to our coaches. And what kind of response? Of course, response to know more about the situation, and to think how you can be actively participated in this. It's how you can raise the standard of coaching profession even higher, because this war and unprecedented the situation where there is no clear rules requires a different type of leadership, different type of awareness, and that's why it is a point and opportunity to be even more professional, more aware. And I think that to display and manifest that coaching profession has truly no borders.
I know that recently you and the board members of our chapter were taking part in the leadership conversation with other chapter leaders. Do you have any specific message to the leaders of the chapters which are defining what chapters are doing and how chapters are partnering and what is necessary to, what it's important to understand?
Sometimes it's quite difficult to state what's really the needs of our chapter at the moment and what kind of support we need. As I mentioned, we are going and moving to the unknown territory, and that's why such a request may arise. And I hope that if any chapter leaders will watch this video, I would like that we have an opportunity for further partnership, for further dialogue, and discussing possible communication and possible support. And because actually many Ukrainian coaches at this point, they don't have jobs. They are thinking about some fundamental needs. And that's, we need time to restore our normal life. That's why such an open dialogue, such an open readiness for the partnership is very important. I'd like to leave this door for the communication open.
To keep this door for open communications open, I think it's very strong message. And I'm thinking, if it's possible to add that ICF globally as a family organization, and there are different organizations are focusing on different part of this, not just coaching context, but really global coaching context. Thoughtful Leadership Institute, ICF Foundation, definitely ICF Professional Coaches, definitely the institution which is developing standards in teaching, in certification. So and now I'm thinking that probably Ukraine would be a platform or the space, virtual or even maybe physical, where the wide dialogue open and maybe challenging dialogue about coaching today and future coaching can happen or start developing, including how to redefine the way of coaching, the role of coaching, the impact of coaching, and maybe coaches from Ukraine can contribute at the different level because of this unexpected, very painful, life-threatening challenges are happening almost every day, even when we are speaking with you. And in some way, Ukraine is taking the lead. In designing the new way of how the global architecture will look like, because it's not about Ukraine. It's about the human values. It's about the future, which is emerging today. It's my maybe a little bit emotional words at the end. Thank you, Oleksandr, for being the part of this conversation and for your willingness to find time, knowing where you are and what you are facing. It's priceless to have you for this conversation. And I hope it's just the beginning, and we'll meet very soon again and share other news, especially how ICF Ukraine chapter is working, what is happening, what we are developing, and what kind of partnership is happening and is emerging. Thank you.
Thank you, Larysa, for creating this space, the opportunity to express maybe not very clearly and structurally, but anyway, in this situation, I don't think I'm able to do it differently. And thank you for keeping such a dialogue, for inviting other communities, other coaches for this space. And I think this enlarge and our experience and I think enrich our profession as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And for everybody who will be watching or listening, if you're interested, please reach ICF Ukraine Chapter, and you can see the connections, how to make these connections, and also through Facebook page or through direct email communications, because what we can do together, we are committed to do together with your support. And because coaching is always about partnership, conscious, strategic, sustainable, and in this case, emergent partnerships. Thank you very much. And we'll be happy to see you next time. Thank you.